Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for another very special edition of Diary of a Double, the year-long journey of Antonio Argüelles from Mexico to swim from from England to France and then back to England, a total of 67 kilometers. And we also have a special guest today also, Sally Minty Gravitt, who at the age of 59 became the oldest person at the time, since broken by an Australian man, but she was 59 years old when she did a two-way crossing of the English Channel in 36 hours and 26
minutes.
Yes. So we're going to discuss, or Antonio's going to discuss what he did this week at workout, and then we'll get into some question and answer and some comparisons. Welcome, Antonio.
Muy buenos días, muy buenas tardes, buenas noches, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be here with all my friends, especially my co-host, Steven Munatones. And I see also my great friend, Quinn, over there.
Yeah. So, Antonio, you had a hard week 2 weeks ago, where you swam 7 hours and 22 minutes on a training swim in a famous river outside of Mexico City. And what did you do this week?
Well, Steven, yes, fortunately on week 20, I did two important things. Number one, I rested, which I'm very happy that Rafa gave me this week to rest. And basically what I was doing is I was walking 2 days, 10 kilometers. I went to the National University, and then I would swim the third day, 3 kilometers. So I asked Rafa, well, what's going to be the workout for the 3 kilometers? He said, whatever you want. So Rafa, it's always very strict with the amount of paddles, pool boy, and fins that I can use. So I did my own special workouts, which was 5 400s, and I started with nothing, pool boy, kicking, pool boy, and paddles, and then fins, and then I will go back 5 200s, starting with fins and going all the way down. But the most important thing for this week, I have two things for this week. The first one is that I want to introduce something that I want to share, something that has happened to me since I started swimming for this double crossing. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is I want to explain what happened to me on the 31st of December, which is going to be in my blog on Monday. But can I share the screen,
Yes,
Steven?
go ahead.
See, I don't know if you guys remember when I did Ocean 7, I had a dream that I needed to swim to a beach on the other side of Donaghadee because there was a treasure there. And this happens because I used to have a friend who was a pirate when I was a little kid, and his name was Don Julian. And he sent me in my dreams numbers that I finally found out that were the coordinates and the latitude for the longitude and the latitude to the beach. And I never got to the beach, as you remember. I almost crashed my head into the stones. So I never got the treasure. So when I started training again, strange things happen. And the first thing that happened is, you see that green letter over there? I found that one day at the pool where I go and swim. And then I opened it and it said, "Dear Antonio, wait for news." And I didn't know what was happening. I mean, this strange things happened to me. So I just was waiting, and I'm swimming, and I see that something around is there. I can barely see it. And then look what happens. This parrot arrives, and he has something in his mouth, and I didn't know what it was. What the parrot had, and he delivered me something that's very precious. And he asked me if I was ready for a new adventure. And so he starts flying with me at Las Estacas, and I didn't know what he was trying to do. And he tells me, finally, he talks to me, And he says that he's Don Julian, and that he's here to go with me in my next swim. And so I asked Don Julian, but you were a pirate. Yeah, he said, well, I was killed by some English pirates. We won't take that against them, Sally. You know, they beat us. The Mexican pirates were beaten by the English pirates. That usually happened in those days. But he reincarnated in a parrot. So now he's guiding me through this new adventure, and he gives me half of the map. And I said, what is this? He said, well, this is half of the map that you will have to find the other half, and you will find the clues to be able to go back and forth. Because if you achieve swimming from England to France and then coming back to France, you're going to find the treasure. So I was very happy because he told me that the pirates, when they knew I was going to come to Scotland, they had taken it away and buried it somewhere at Shakespeare Bay. So we start looking for it, and we start searching for the other part of the map. And look, somebody else arrives, and that's me when I was a little kid. So this is amazing. Now I have my old friend, the pirate. Me as a little kid. I mean, it was just wonderful to see myself. As you see, I haven't changed that much. I still have this round body, so I'm not slim. We long distance swimmers can put a little bit of fat around ourselves. And he tells me, here, I am your. So it says, hello, hola, yo soy el pirata Toño, and that is hola, I'm the pirate Toño. And he gives me the other half of the map. So now we have the map, and as you see, there are different clues that we have to be solving during our year long, and some of them have started to appear. The first one is that I go to La Jolla. Remember we were in La Jolla when we saw those seals, Stephen? And I was surprised to see this white seal. I don't know if you guys...
Ahora.
If you've been in La Jolla, but the seals love to come closer to the cove, and there was this white one, and I saw it one afternoon, and then when I started swimming the next morning, she was there, and she comes and tells me that her name is Marina, and that she'll be going along with Toño, Don Julian, and myself in a trip. So now we are all happy because we have them, and we swam in La Jolla, and we are ready to keep on rolling. And then last week when I was in Las Estacas, look what happened. I got a dragon now too. His name is Ryu, and so we prepared the whole team for the swim. And this is nice because now when you ask me if I am afraid of sharks, can somebody that is has that kind of help be afraid of sharks? No way. I don't know if he's going to be good with the jellyfishes, but I'm sure no shark is going to get around Ryu. But now this is how he came out. Las Estacas is this river where you started, and so that's when he came out of there. But something at the end of my swim happened. I heard some noises coming out of that cave. I was trying to listen. And I don't know what's going to happen. So the next time I go to Las Estacas, I hope I will find them. So this is something that happened this week. I got the story so far, as you can see. And then on the 31st, I went and meditated, and some strange thing happened. My sensei told me that I had this new aura of peace. And as you remember, Stephen, I told you that when I was in La Jolla and the last time in Las Estacas, I was able to hold my mind in a more steady place. Instead of having these thoughts that sometimes they go away, I was able to hold it better. And I think this is something that he finally explained me, that I was able to move into another dimension. And so things are coming together. All these things that have happened with Marina and Don Julian, and Antonio and Ryu are starting to make more sense. So this is what happened to me during this week, and I'm ready to start week 21, which Rafa is probably going to start torturing me. So this is what I want to share with you guys.
Got it. When you are in that zone, when you are focused mentally, do you swim better, faster, slower? Do you know the relationship between your mental state and your swimming speed or power?
Two things happen. I swim lighter, with less stress, and with more power. I can feel the power. Um, and this is something that's really important for me, because you know what happened with the double crossing in Catalina. When I was going back, I had a big crisis that I was very stiff and my mind was just, we had a problem with our changing our kayakers, and I got all screwed up with the time, and that really was difficult for me. So being in this state where I can just focus and narrow my wave, how do you say, wavelength? In my mind, and just bring them down and just be calm and relax helps me a lot.
Got it. And when you're in that state, when you're feeling light and you finish a hard workout, um, how's your recovery? Does that flow state continue once you're on dry land, or once you hit the ground, does everything revert back to normal and you start thinking about work or food or whatever you're thinking about?
I always think about food, Stephen. That's irrelevant. Food and drinks are not part of the feeling relaxed. No. That doesn't. No, but work. And you know who my biggest critic is Jimena, who now works for me. Now she's the CEO of our consulting firm, and she has mentioned that I have more tolerance, and I don't bug people as much as I used to do. But you know what is really interesting is at night, the combination of katsu, which I use every day, and this new state makes me sleep much better. I don't wake up at night that many times, and if I wake up, I go back immediately to sleep, which is that's a big difference. And I'm able to, if I wake up, I'm able to erase any thoughts. You always have trouble during the day. You always have things that you were thinking about the next days. So that helps me just to narrow and go back to sleep and feel relaxed.
Got it. And about this aspect of recovery, other than getting good sleep, both before your swim and after your swim, are there any other tricks that you've picked up over the years of your channel swims and marathon swims, especially as you get older and older?
Be very aware of my rest. I used to be very concerned about resting. For example, this is the first time in many years that in between a season I take a week off. Okay. And Rafa, it's very conscious. When Rafa sees me, he comes. We train every day, and sometimes he comes to the house at around 5 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. And if I'm not in a good physical state, he sends me back to sleep. We just do stretching exercise, and he sends me back to sleep. That has changed a lot, because before, when I was just training with a schedule and had my workout for the whole week, my mantra was I would never miss a workout, and I would do everything my coach said I needed to do. And with Rafa we'll see how you feel, and don't be afraid of resting. And that has been a big change.
Got it. How does he judge that you need more sleep? By your looks, by the way you walk?
By the way I walk, my look, and we every day we stretch.
Okay.
And when I'm very tight, he will the question would ask me is, how you feeling? I mean, you don't look right, you don't feel right, and we just do stretches and maybe a light bike. Or this is something I got from Sally when we were talking in when we had the WOWSA awards in San Francisco. I asked Sally, how she trained, and she mentioned that she did some cross training. And Rafa and I put that into routine. I mean, we're not afraid of doing some biking or to do some rollers or go into the elliptic machine or even the the running in the band
Yeah.
in the treadmill.
Yeah, you and Sally are unique, but you're also representative of all the marathon swimmers and channel swimmers who, you started swims in your youth. I say youth meaning in your 20s and 30s, and you've continued on. I want to ask Sally. You've done an English Channel crossing at least once in the last 5 decades, and you're aiming for the 6th decade. How do you deal with recovery? Is recovery easier, better? Are you handling it smarter as you get older and older?
Yeah, I think I do smart training instead of garbage yardage. Really, I think I overtrained on my first swim when I was 18. When I did my first channel swim at the age of 18, 46 years ago, I couldn't move my arms for a week after. I then learnt to, as Antonio says, to rest more. And the older I've got, you have to remember that we have a lot of muscle memory in our shoulders. And I rely on that. And I am thankful that I can get in the water and I can swim myself stronger the more I swim. And I'm very fortunate that when I do my channel swim in July, I probably, the swimming pools are closed and have been closed since March here. So I have to rely on sea training. So what I'm going to do is in this cold sea, I'm going to swim for a short time, but a hard swim in a short period of time, as often as I can when I've got somebody that can keep an eye on me, which will keep my muscle memory going, will keep me swim fit. I'm fit anyway. I do kettlebells and weight training at home. I walk 2 or 3 hours a day with my dog. So I am cross training. I'm just about to start a month-long program with a guy to do online fitness with him and a little weekly challenge with him, which will keep my focus positive and keep me. I want to become a lean, mean fighting machine again, because the last 8 months has been very tricky and emotionally draining, as some of you may or may not know. And I now need to focus on myself and look after myself. And I think the recovery, when I did my two-way, I got out the water and I could put my arms up in the air and I had no after effects apart from a little tendonitis in my wrist. I really didn't have any aches or pains or anything because during that whole 2 years in the build up, or 3 years in the build up to that swim, I made myself do a little circuit every day at home of squats, core work, back strengthening work, chests, press ups and tricep dips to get all my muscles conditioned for swimming. I didn't do anything else. I didn't overdo it. I didn't overtrain. And I think that's very, very important. And at least 1 day's rest a week. And if you don't feel like swimming, don't swim. And because your body will be tired, as Antonio will say. And if you are tired, go back to sleep, rest. And as we get older, we need more rest so that our swimming can become better. And I think that there's a danger of seriously overtraining. And a lot of people think you have to train and train and train and train. And actually, if you train hard and rest well, the combination is, if you can get the balance right, you'll carry on swimming and you'll be uninjured. And I think that was very important for me.
Got it. And since I have Antonio and Sally on the line here, you're both, well, Sally, are you 60 yet?
I'm 63.
63, well, so
Yeah.
as a 63-year-old and Antonio as a 61-year-old, how do you, and you've been doing this for so many years, how do you keep so motivated to do it? Obviously Antonio plays with dragons and sea lions and pirates, but
Really,
it's got to be deeper than that.
Yeah.
Maybe Sally go first and then Antonio.
Well, for me, I spend a lot of time in the winter probably not swimming because I've done so much in the summer. So in the winter, I do different things. I'll walk, do the cliff paths, I'll do different stuff. This year's been a bit different because we haven't been able to swim that much. So when we did swim in the sea, we carried on, and I am still swimming in the sea now. Short periods of time when I can get a swim buddy, and it's kind of shorter quality, more fun swims now than it was in the summer, and it will continue to do that as the sea gets colder. But I take my hat off to Antonio for training so hard in the winter, and I'm going to have a chat with Antonio later. But I think what we all have to be careful about overtraining now to prevent injury. And the stretching is fantastic. The walking you're doing is fantastic, and just be very careful not to overtrain, because I have learned my lesson and I will never overtrain again. I don't need to, is for me. That's my thing. And I do it because I love being in the water and I just want to be in the sea.
And Antonio?
Well, three things in my case. As I mentioned before, I'm hyperactive. So if I don't swim, I will make Lucia, Jimena, and all my coworkers crazy. I mean, I just go and we'll be doing all the, just doing things and asking for things, and so that keeps me very calm. It's better than taking Prozac or any of other drugs. So that's the first one. The second one is that in my family, we had a very, we have a gene of diabetics in both my families. And also high blood pressure. As a matter of fact, I've had high blood pressure since about 12 years ago. But the third thing is that you said jokingly about the dragons and the pirates, but being in the pool, being in the ocean, being able to tell the stories keeps me like a kid. So I don't have to be an adult. I don't have to be a professional. When I'm in the water or in the pool, I play. And it's something that for me, it's very important to keep on playing, because I think as you grow older, you forget to play. And I love playing. And the other day, somebody was very upset with me in the pool because, the whole workout, I was just trying to get that moment when I was going to go and just go real fast and just go in front of her. And we ended the workout and said, well, you're just like a kid, a teenager. Can you not behave? I said, no, I won't behave. I love doing that. I love to be in your back, and the last 50 just go all blast and pass you after a 3,000. That's fun. That's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have done that, and that's fun. That's swimming, and that's what I enjoy. That's what I love.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, we have a plenty of people on the line here. If anybody has a specific question, either unmute yourself and ask Antonio or Sel or anybody else that's on the line, or put it in the chat room. But Antonio, as people are thinking of their questions, can you, I know what Stanford is, the outstanding university in the West Coast near San Francisco, but what is your hat? What is that symbol?
My hat is something that I started after I finished Ocean 7. And I started a foundation called Brazada Stroke Abrazada. So we try to hug people through swimming, and it's a foundation that teaches children in public schools to swim. And before the confinement, we had 1,000 kids, and it's probably one of the most. When people ask me how I feel about all the things that I've done in swimming wise, what I say is that it has given me a voice. People will listen to me. And so I can go around and say, look, I mean, we're going to have this program for public schools. And in Mexico, getting into public schools is very complicated. I mean, I don't know how in the rest of the world it is, but in Mexico, the public schools are they don't want any intruder from the outside, especially from the private sector. And I was able to do it. And it's you can't believe the faces of the children the moment they swim. the moment they can hold their bodies on top of the water. And then the next step, because we go to this Olympic pool that has a tower, 10, 5, and 3, and 1. And you don't know how many kids after 6 months want to go all the way up the tower and jump from the tower. And the empowerment that they feel about being able to swim and be free in the water, it's amazing. And that's something that, if you ask me something I really, really miss, is that we haven't been able to do that. All pools are closed, and public schools are closed in Mexico. So next school year, I hope to get going again. As a matter of fact, all the proceeds, all the royalties of my book, in English and in Spanish, go to the foundation.
Okay. Okay. And how is the situation of COVID-19 in Mexico? What is
Really
it?
bad, really bad. We've been in confinement since December 18 again, and we won't be open until the 10th. As the rest of the world, we're having a lot of problems with the vaccination. There, the whole process of getting people to be vaccinated. We haven't been able to get as many vaccines as we need in some states. For example, in the metropolitan area of Mexico City, we're the same as LA. Almost all beds are full. No, it's really bad. Fortunately, I have a place where I can swim, but yeah, it's bad. It's bad, and I don't think it's going to get any better soon.
Got it. So how does that phenomena about, pool closures, limited travel, how are you going to work that into the rest of the 7 months before you go over to England and attempt the two-way crossing?
Well, I'm hoping that they don't close the Cove. I'm going at the end of the month. I'm going for a week to the Cove.
Okay.
And the previous week, I'm going to Acapulco. Hopefully, it won't be as warm as it was the last time. And then in February, I'm going up for a week to Los Cabos, and then I'm going again a week in La Jolla, and that's in March. Hopefully, again to La Jolla. And this morning, I had an idea, Stephen. Let me run it through you. To make a Catalina swim in April.
Good idea.
The water temperature is going to be around 15, 16. I'll be able to swim another month. I've swum Catalina in August, September, January, and I think July. So now I'll be able to do it in April. The only problem is I don't know if the federation will have, will be open. I got an email from the Catalina Swimming Federation saying that they hope to open it again, but we'll have to see.
I can help you with that, Antonio. Hi, everybody, and thanks for doing this. Connie is my name. I'm based here in San Francisco, and I'm going to swim Catalina as well, and I know a lot of people who do. And if you need help with the logistics or so, I'm happy to help you, Antonio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll keep that in mind.
Connie, if you could put your email in the chat room, and then Antonio could communicate with you.
Yeah, of course. And Antonio, if you need help on your crew, I'm also happy to be available.
Oh, I wish I was closer.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful swim. It is relatively warm. Here in Northern California right now we have about 50 degrees or so. In the summer it goes up to 60, 63. But Catalina is around 64. I would say even in April. So it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I did it in 2006. It's a lovely swim.
So I put my email in the chat, or
yes.
You have to help me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, please feel free to contact me here, everybody. I'd like to help.
Thank you very much.
And then we have another question. We have two questions here. They're both in the chat room. And one of them is from a winter swimmer. So the exact opposite of Acapulco,
Yeah.
Antonio. And they're a little bit afraid of the amount of training needed to swim a long distance swim. And again, I think long distance is in the eye of the beholder. If I think about Antonio or Sally with their two-way crossings, long distance means over 60 kilometers.
Okay.
Some people think, long distance is only 30 kilometers, and some people think long distance is 10 kilometers. But my take on this is how do I start doing a long distance? Is the same way you start doing it for a channel crossing. You just little by little, step by step. You
Yeah.
don't need to go from let's say 3,000 meters in the pool suddenly to 10K in the open water and then a 20K workout. You do it step by step, week by week, month by month. You just build up, just like you will build up when you're swimming in cold water. You start off in the summer and you keep on swimming through the fall, and water temperature drops and you keep on going. But Antonio or Sally, do you have any good advice?
Yeah, depending on the swim that you want to do, you need to work backwards from there. So if you have a channel swim booked in, say for instance, if you have a channel swim booked in July 2022, for instance, which is 21 miles, you know that for that channel swim, you have to do a prerequisite 6-hour qualifying swim to be able to do that. So in the year coming up, you need to make sure that you're swimming regularly and maybe do at least one 6-hour swim this year to make sure you like it, first of all, and you practice your feeding and you practice your everything that goes with all of that, the greasing up, everything that goes, and you build up slowly to that 6 hours. If you like that and you get on well with it, then you know that the following year you'll be able to do at least one, maybe two 6-hour swims, and maybe do a back-to-back, what we call a back-to-back swim, where you're doing your channel swim in a weekend. So you maybe do 8 hours on a Saturday and another 7 or 8 hours on the Sunday, back to back, to get that muscular feeling in your shoulders so you feel comfortable going forward to aim for a potentially 15 to 20 hour swim, which you don't know how long it's going to take. So it's all relative. You have to work out what you're going to do and you have to work back. I think I said this to Antonio when I saw him in 2018. When you've got your swim, you work backwards. And I had every intention of going to do a 2-way Catalina before my 2-way channel swim, but it just didn't work out. The timing, the traveling, it just didn't work out. So, and I was very happy with what happened to me. But and what Antonio is doing is fantastic, because you are there and you can do it and you've done that now. And so, mentally, you can go somewhere, turn around and come back. So you're mentally and physically prepared for that channel swim. You just have to stay fit, stay strong, stay uninjured, and stay well and stay healthy for your channel swim in 6 or 7 months' time. But everybody is different and everybody will have a different starting point. I've got 46 years of swimming here in my shoulders and in my head, and no injuries over those years. So I'm doing something right, I think. But everybody is different and everybody will train differently through the winter, through the summer. So
I would just, what you said at the beginning is always right. I mean, what said Stephen, you work your way. But one thing an advice that you gave me, Sally, and it was very good for us when we did the Catalina back and forth, is remember you told me you have to swim segments. So
yes.
we went to in May of last year, we went to La Jolla and we swam for 24 hours in segments. Wow. 24 hours. Yep. So my mind and my body was trained to be alert for 24 hours. And that helped a lot when I did Catalina. Good. And this is something that I had never done before, breaking workouts. It was always 4, 6, 8, 10 hours straight. It makes a big difference when you go 12 hours and you go in segments of 4 or segments of 3, and then you rest in the middle. And the other thing that's important well, for me has been important when you do cold swimming is getting in and out of the water.
Yeah.
Because you never get warm, and you have to go back, and you're cold, and so the coldness, you keep cold all day long, and that's what's going to happen when you're in the channel. I mean,
yeah, and you get when you go in the water, you get cold, but you get to a point where you don't get any colder. And if you keep moving, you'll keep your body heat and your body temperature, you regulate it by keeping moving. It's when you stop in the water that you get cold.
That's a very good sentence. You get cold, but you never get colder. I mean, it's a point where you cannot get colder. I mean, and that's, you have to be able to reach that point.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable with that pain, and then you keep on going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There was a interview that I did, I would say 6 months ago, with a Brazilian swimmer, Igor de Souza from Brazil. And he did a very fast two-way crossing. I think it was around 18 hours and 50 minutes, somewhere. It's under 19 hours, I believe. But a year before, he decided to do everything in two. He decided to, if he would eat dinner, he would eat half his dinner, take a less than 10-minute break, and eat the rest of his dinner. If he was going to the pool to train, he would either ride his bike or take the car, halfway there, stop, 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, and then go there. Every single thing he did, brush his teeth, you name it, he did it in twos. So when he went from England to France and France to England. When he got to France, he knew that he had a year's preparation of doing everything in two. And he was very confident, brushing his teeth, going to the pool, different sets. He would always, if you would go 10 400s like you, Antonio, he'd do 5, rest 5 minutes, and then the other 5.
Very good.
And there was another man from Tunisia. He just wrote to me. He's done several swims over 24 hours and 2 swims around 48 hours. I said, how do you handle the lack of sleep? And part of his training is periodically, let's say once a week, once every 2 weeks or so, he doesn't sleep one night, but instead of staying up at night, he goes and he walks throughout the night. So on the day that he isn't working out, he'll do a regular work day. At night, when he's starting to get sleepy, he puts on a backpack and he just walks until sunrise.
Yeah, funny.
Very, very sleepy, but then he knows, I'm going to be sleepy in my 2-day or 48-hour swims, etc. And then he goes a regular work day. So everybody's got these little tricks of the trade that they've developed over time.
That's really interesting. And a lot of people have asked me, how did you train to stay awake for that length of time? And you can't really. I don't think you can, because your body gets into a routine and it's total body confusion is what Mike Oram says, but you have to get your body used to doing things at different times, which is exactly what that man did, Igor did, or the Tunisian. I think that's a really good idea. And if I was, maybe, Antonio, you should do that on one of your walking days. Every month, maybe do that. So you lack of sleep, don't have sleep for 24 hours. But you've done a 24-hour swim, so you know. So it's
something different happens to me. I just get all wired. I know at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's going to hit me a little bit, but it hit me at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was partying as well. So I know the feeling. I mean, that's 3 o'clock is 3 o'clock, and that doesn't matter. We have a question here from a friend of mine, Carlos Alvarez. Carlos tried to do a double crossing of the English Channel this year, and he has 2 questions in the chat room. Number one is, how do I combine technique and my swimming? And basically, Carlos, technique is part of my routine. I mean, I do it with Ricardo Duron and with Rafa. Once a week, we spend an important part of the workout, and it's additional to the rest of the swimming. And but probably the big difference for me has been doing strength exercise. That has been something that's very important, and that's something that has made a big difference from my earlier swims 20 years ago to now.
It will prevent injury as well, which is really good.
Yeah, and his second question is how how can you handle the cold? How you prepare for the cold water? And this is something that, that's how I met Quinn. I used to go to San Francisco and swim in the bay. And the only way I can think about getting used, and you never get used to cold water. You acclimate to cold water, but you're gonna feel the pain. You're gonna feel in your arms and your toes, and you have to be able to live with that. But you have to go and swim in cold water. And if you're doing a North Channel swim, La Jolla is not cold. La Jolla is very warm. You need to go to San Francisco and the big difference, the only thing different in San Francisco is that either you go to the Dolphin Club or you go to the Cirque. And the South End Rowing Club, we really need to get warm up. I mean, we are allowed to bring tequila and scotch and beer to our sauna, and that makes a big difference. In the Dolphin Club, they're a lot more straight. Does it, Quinn?
Not true, Antonio. Not true. Where's Suzanne? She can help me out.
Suzanne Heim is another very
Dolphin
accomplished
person, yeah.
marathon
It depends, Antonio, it depends.
Well, you Dolphins have to invite me one day that I can see more action, because the times I was in the sauna at the Dolphin Club, nothing happened, so it was very boring.
Come to the south end.
Tequila, huh?
Quinn, I think we can fix that.
We can. Antonio, consider yourself invited. We'll take care of it.
Okay, next
Likewise.
time.
For the audience that doesn't know well, or the details and differences between the Dolphin Club and the South End Rowing Club on Aquatic Park in San Francisco Bay, maybe Susan, can you explain the either subtle or major differences between the two clubs?
I want to hear that. I want to hear this.
Don't even go into that.
I really want to go into that either. Well, I will say that, I've been a member of the Dolphin Club for 43 years. However, when I go to swim, and Antonia, that's where I met you, is at the South End. I do my Sunday morning. I have a swim buddy over at the South End. And the South End on a Sunday morning at 6:30, there's probably 30 or 40 people that are taking off for a swim. Not now, obviously. But, and it's a little more subdued or quiet at the Dolphin Club, right, Antonio? But some of the people in the South End, they do some pretty hardcore swimming. There's a group of them that really go out, and they're not as fast, some of them, and they are spending upwards of, their swims are 18 hours, long swims. And then the Dolphin Club, we do, it seems like, and Quinn, you can correct me if I'm not spot on this, but they're a little bit more, I see a little more racing and speed, because some of their events that they've got going are more event oriented and shorter distances, whereas the South End has swims that are, they call them things like the Nutcracker swims, kind of like they're longer swims in the South End. I mean, would you agree, Quinn?
Yeah, I think that's right. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I think that's 100% true. It attracts, more of the speed demon types, and South End is, a social club with a swimming problem.
Well, if I can say something to that, I'm a South Ender, and I really don't like to say, oh, these are the Dolphins, these are the South Enders. I think they are all very inviting. You can find fast swimmers, you can find slow swimmers, you can do social time. And it's just a beautiful way to share that beach and to do swimming. So come whenever you want. I mean, you're always welcome at the South End. I think the Dolphins say the same. So really,
there are nuances. It's
there are big nuances that nobody has gotten to them. So I respect the audience, and I will.
That's the right answer.
I will go into those, but when you visit, we'll give you a tour of the two different environments, and you can judge by yourself.
And Connie, I think you're spot on. It's a place to come swim, beautiful venue. I mean, I've gone, when I was doing my really long swims, my South End buddies would step up and would be crewing on my swims. with the Dolphin Club. So, you know, there are subtle differences, but it's all about swimming.
Exactly. And as you said, you have a swim buddy. You know, you meet people at the beach and you don't ask, are you South End? Are you Dolphin? We just
No.
swim together. So let's just have fun there.
Antonio,
lovely
what
place.
about this difference? What is the difference of swimming in Aquatic Park and La Jolla Cove? So La Jolla Cove in San Diego, you know, about a 6-7 hour drive up north in San Francisco Bay. What are those subtle differences or major differences?
Major difference. You know, what the first thing is, in La Jolla, you never encounter currents. I mean, when somebody tells you there's a current in La Jolla, it's a baby current. I mean, you can't even feel it. The waves in La Jolla, you have to have a very, 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 very rare bad day to have waves in La Jolla. But just think about the first time I got to Aquatic Park. That's how I became friends with Simon Dominguez, because I was totally lost. You know, just if you go, you have to wait outside the door, and the moment somebody opens the door, you have to rush in, pay your $10, because otherwise if you don't have the card, you can't get in. So I was waiting there, and Simon sees me and said, "What are you doing here?" So, "Well, I'm from Mexico." And so we go out and swim, and then he introduced me to Kim. And it was a Sunday, and the first time we went swimming, Kim said, "Take it slow." And we went inside in Aquatic Park, and the moment we got out in the bay, it was a total different swim. I mean, the waves, and it was that day we had the flow was going to the Golden Gate, so it's really nice going. We're going really fast outside the wall, and Kim tells me, "Don't go with the group. They're going to have a hard time getting back." And fortunately, we go in. But then when I went again by myself, when you go to Fort Mason, which is when you're seeing Alcatraz in front of you, and you get how you call it when the water is going out? The
Ebb.
It's the ebb.
when it's
When
ebbing,
it goes out.
when it's ebbing, and you're swimming against the ebb, that's very difficult. And if it has waves, you know, it's even worse. I mean, it's a totally different ball game. I mean, swimming in outside Aquatic Park,
well, swimming in the San Francisco Bay, you can only do when you have looked at the tide book. You cannot swim outside without looking at the tide book. And I think in La Jolla, you don't have to look at the tide book. But if you don't do this and swim in San Francisco Bay, then you end up getting pushed out somewhere, or you have to creep back against the current, right, Susan? And that's a good training for any channel swim.
Yeah. But, you know how I learned the book? I will go out. You know how I learned about the app and you know, the different.
I guess the hard way.
I will go out and just lay it flat and see which way it was going. And, you know, say, well, let's see how fast it is, how hard it is, and then
please don't do that. Please don't do that. Really, it can be dangerous. Okay, and then somebody has to come out and rescue you. Sometimes the currents are 3 to 4 knots, and it's not
very
fun.
Good. Very good. So that's a difference.
Yeah, got it. And then we have one more question, and it comes from Susan actually, and says on recovery. And I don't know if Sally has this problem because I don't know how warm the water gets in Jersey where she lives, but is there any difference in recovering from a hard workout or a hard swim in warm water versus a hard swim or long swim in colder water? And Antonio, you're swimming in Acapulco, which is 30 degrees Celsius, and you're also swimming in Aquatic Park, which is, 12 degrees Celsius. So what are those differences in recovery?
Swimming in cold water gets you more tired.
Yeah.
Very much. I mean, it's
you sleep very well after cold water swimming.
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of more energy.
Yeah.
When swimming warm water, you just have to keep yourself hydrated. I mean, that's basically the difference. But also in cold water, you have to get hydrated and well fed. But the level of tiredness that you get after swimming when I go the first days, I go into cold water swimming, I feel very tired. I mean, it's
Makes you very sleepy.
yeah, it's very, very, it consumes a lot of you.
Yeah.
Our sea temperature now has just gone under 10, so it's 9 something at the moment. I can do 15 minutes easy, no problem. I'm going to try and build that up to 20, but I have to be very careful, make sure I'm not, putting myself in danger. But our sea temperature in August gets up to 19, 20, and that's kind of the tops, really. So it doesn't get hot.
Yeah.
It's just nice, very comfortable.
Yeah. And we have another question from Sabrina, who she booked a North Channel relay for 2022. And she asked for any suggestions, advice. I don't know if we have many relay swimmers on here.
Unfortunately, we don't have Mark with us today, Mark Hamilton. But my experience in North Channel is try to get there earlier. Give yourself 10 days to swim.
Yeah.
To swim. That's going to be a cold water. Even if it's a relay, you're going to be going in and out, and it's be prepared for cold water and be prepared for hard currents. I mean, that entry into Scotland, it's very complicated. I mean, all the channels have complicated areas, but that one is, the people who, the moment the tide changes, they can take you. It can be 500, 600 meters from the coast, and you won't be able to make it. One thing I recommend, it's very important, you pay a visit to Pier 36. They have a great selection of single malts, and their sticky toffee pudding is just marvelous. And so, that's a great place. That's a great, yeah.
And the Guinness is wonderful too.
I don't like Guinness, but the single malt was very good, Sally. I had a great time there.
It is. I had that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Well, we're going to end by, I'm going to ask Quinn, I think you will announce the World Open Water Swimming Offering of the Year nominees later today, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we are crossing our I's and dotting our T's, and we'll be ready to unveil over 20 nominees for the Offering of the Year. And over the course of the next week, we will also unveil the Performance of the Year, Man of the Year, and Woman of the Year. So be ready to go vote.
Thank you. Thank you. And this year was a very unusual year, obviously.
Yes.
But I saw a lot of creativity throughout the entire global open water swimming community. A lot of people had time to think, to write, to create, to film, to edit. And so looking forward to seeing these nominees and the rest of the nominees for all the other awards. So Antonio, what do we have next for next week? Any long workouts?
You know what? Rafa is in Uruguay.
Oh,
he's from Montevideo, so he hasn't written me. Okay. Tomorrow is Sunday. I usually on Sundays I get my workout, but I imagine that we'll be doing either 2 or 3 hours next week, and I don't know if we're going to go to Las Estacas or we're going to go to in the pool, but we're going to start. Yeah, it's gonna be. I have to switch. I have to switch. That I have to get into moving mode again. But I have a question that I cannot leave the audience with this with this uncertainty. Our voting process is going to be contested, or we're going to be fine with our voting
recount, a lot of recounts.
So we won't have any recounts, okay?
Quinn's in charge of the electoral college.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, guys. No, we are. I mean, to answer you seriously, we are using a plugin that has security so that people are only able to vote once per category, and it's based on both the IP address and the email address. So it is very secure, and We actually take it pretty seriously. We want to make sure.
Yeah, it's been like
it's-
that for a couple of years, hasn't it? It's good. It's very good.
Yeah, and it's also just unique and fun that we run this as a open, democratic, transparent process. And we let people lobby and promote themselves, and it's really neat to see whole nationalities kind of get behind a nominee and generate a lot of excitement. So be on the lookout. It is WOWSA Awards season.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who participated by questions and by answers, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank
Thank
you.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.